Ellen, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Brain Stew by Green Day on the guitar, so stay tuned if this is something that you'd like to learn. And really quick before we jump into the tutorial, I wanted to take a second to thank today's sponsor, Donner, who actually sent me over this guitar that I'm playing in this video. This is their DST 400. I would say that after playing on it for a while, it's very comparable to like a Stratocaster, but it is a little bit more affordable. You can get this right on Amazon and shipped to you in 2 days. One of the special things to note about this guitar is that it does come with the 2 single coil pickups and a humbucker on the bridge, which can also be like a single coil or humbucker. If you are interested in this guitar, I do have an affiliate link in the description box down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. So for anyone that follows my channel, you'll know that I mostly stick with acoustic guitar when I do these tutorials, but recently I've been trying to pick up electric a little bit more, and this is actually one of the very first songs I ever learned on electric guitar, so I thought it'd be a really beginner-friendly song to show you guys who are also beginners. So from one beginner to another, here are some tips and tricks on how to play this song that I've struggled with and kind of worked through, and hopefully some of these tips will be helpful for you. So I would definitely qualify this song as super beginner friendly. You will need your guitar to be tuned down a half step for the easiest way to play it, in my opinion. And then on top of that, I only have 5 chords to show you, and they're all power chords, which are super beginner friendly as well. And then I just have 1 strumming pattern to show you for like the main part of the song, and then you can add a little bit extra into it to kind of do that like feedback sound, but we'll go into that in the strumming portion. But that's it. After you do that, you can play through the entire song, so it's really super easy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the chords. Alright guys, so before we jump into the chord shapes, really quick I wanted to remind you that your guitar does need to be in a half step down tuning if you're going to follow this tutorial. If you don't know how to do that, I did make a video right here on the easiest way to tune your guitar down a half step, so I'll link that here for those of you who need it. But once you are a half step down, your string should sound like this: E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat. Alright? So once they are a half step down, you only need to know 5 different chord shapes, and actually they're all the same chord shape. We're just going to be sliding our hand up and down. So I'll show you what I mean. The first chord shape you need to know is our A flat 5. So what you want to do is put your pointer finger on the 5th fret of the low E string, and then your ring and your pinky fingers are going to go on the 7th frets of the A and the D strings. So that's your A flat 5 power chord. And then from here, all you want to do is slide your entire left hand down 2 frets, but you're going to keep that same shape. This is our G flat 5 chord. Slide your hand 1 more fret down. That's your F5 chord. 1 more fret down, E5. And then the last chord here, you're going to take off your pointer finger and slide your remaining 2 fingers down 1 more fret. Our E flat 5, okay? So you can see how our chords are all the same shape. We're just moving it around the neck of our guitar. The fact that you don't have to move your left hand to do different chord shapes is actually one of the reasons I think this is super beginner friendly. So make sure to pause and just practice those chord shapes, but then when we get back, we will talk a little bit more about the strumming. Alright guys, so a quick side note before we jump into the strumming is you'll notice when you do kind of like open chord shapes on acoustic guitar that you're going to be strumming all of your strings. For these power chords, you only want to strum the strings, the top 3 strings that we're actually playing, okay? E, A, D. But what I've noticed as a beginner myself is that sometimes it can be really hard, especially when using a pick, to only strum those 3 strings. Because if you accidentally strum all of them, it sounds really bad. So one of the things that I've noticed makes it a little bit easier if you're like me and struggle to only strum the strings you need, is you can actually mute all of the other strings, so the top 3. You can do that with your first finger. So if you put your pointer finger on the 5th fret of the low E string for our A flat 5, instead of arching your finger like you normally would for like an acoustic open chord, what you want to do is actually kind of lay it more flat on purpose, because if you lightly touch those top 3 strings, you're actually going to be muting them, which is what we want, because when we put the rest of the chord shape down and then you strum through all the strings but you have the top 3 muted, you actually can't hear those little top 3 strings, so it doesn't sound bad, but you can still strum all 6 strings. Alright? And this is true for all of the other chords as well. So for there, like I'm strumming all of the strings with my right hand, but it's my left hand that's muting the top 3 strings that's allowing me to do that. So kind of just experiment on your own. Which one is easier for you? Is it easier to just strum the top 3 strings with your pick? Or is it easier to strum all of them but kind of lightly touch the bottom 3 strings with your first finger so that you can mute them? It sounds the same ultimately, so whichever one's easier for you is what I would go with. But now that we've kind of covered that, let's go ahead and talk about the strumming. So this whole song strumming pattern is going to be so easy. All you're going to do is a double down strum on your right hand. So on our A flat 5, we've got down, down, all right? Then we have down, down on G flat, down, down, F5, down, down, E5, down, down, E flat 5. And so with the rhythm, it's going to be like this. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So on that last E5 to E flat 5, you're going to split that into one measure, whereas all the other ones are going to be rested. So the rhythm goes down, down, 2, 3, 4, down, down, 2, 3, 4, down, down, 2, 3, 4, down, down, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that last one is going to be a little bit different there. If you're familiar at all with the song, this should be pretty intuitive, but basically that's the whole strumming pattern. And for any time that he is singing, you can actually use that. Having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep but running out. All right. Something to kind of add on to this strumming pattern is in the bridge sections where there's more like guitar, it's more guitar and instrumental heavy. You will hear a little bit more of this like feedback kind of sound. So for the strumming there, all you want to do is take the original 2 down strums, but instead afterwards we're going to add in a few more kind of muted chucking down and up strums. So you're going to go down, down, chuck, 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 chuck. Down, up, down, up, down, up. All right. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. If you are pressing down on your strings, anytime you strum it, you're going to hear all of those strings, right? But the trick to doing this kind of like sound is what you want to do is lightly touch your strings, just barely touch them. It's almost like you're muting them like we were talking about earlier. So you're just barely touching your strings. And so now when you strum, it kind of doesn't make like a chord sound. It has more of that like chucky sound. All right. And that's all we want to do is we want to lighten up on our left hand to make that chucky sound. And you just want to do it into the rhythm. So you have down, down, chuck, up, chuck, up, chuck, up. Next chord, down, down, chuck, up, chuck, up, chuck, up. Down, down, chuck, up, chuck, up, chuck, up. And then here on the last measure, you're just going to go down, 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 down. And then you start all over. Down, down, chuck, up, chuck, up, chuck, up, down, down, chuck, up, chuck, up, chuck, up, down, down, chuck, up, chuck, up, chuck, up, down, 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 down. All right? So that's kind of how you can play the bridge sections. If that chucking motion is a little bit hard, you could always just stick with the double down strum for the whole song. It actually sounds pretty good like that as well. But something else I wanted to mention really quickly, if you are not super familiar with electric guitars, you do kind of want to lighten your left hand to make this kind of sound, but a lot of this sound is coming from your amp and the presets that you have in your amp as well. So I will make sure that I link exactly the preset that I'm using with my Spark Mini in the description box below, but basically you want to find one that has this kind of sound whenever you're muting around with your guitar. So if you're not super familiar with different pedals and things like that that can achieve this sound, I would definitely recommend finding an amp that has like a attached smartphone app thing where you can kind of just look through other people's presets, unless you're somebody who likes to figure that kind of stuff out on your own. But anyways, I found a pretty good one that sounds a lot like the song. So if you're someone who's just wondering, how did they make that sound? Why can't I repeat that sound? A lot of it comes from the amp setting. So just letting you know. go. So basically the entire song can be played with this double down strum pattern, and then in those instrumental portions you can also kind of add in the extra, but that's the whole thing. This strumming pattern with those 5 power chords, that's all you need to do to play through the entire song. Like I said, it's one of the easier ones that I found when I was learning electric guitar, or while I am learning electric guitar, and this is the very first song I think that I played through successfully all the way through. So I just wanted to share it with you guys in case you are also starting on an electric journey. So with that being said, let's go ahead and play through the entire song. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go. I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep but running out. Want to have fun jamming out to the rest of this song with me? Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other fast track and play along tutorials. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description box down below as well as in this iCard right up here. Alright guys, but that does it for my tutorial today. I really hope that it helped you. If it did, make sure to give me a thumbs up down below as well as subscribe to my channel. That way you never miss out on any other new tutorials. Another huge thank you to Donner for sponsoring this video. If you are interested in the guitar that I was playing on today, I will make sure to have that link in the description box down below. A special shout out goes out to all of my top patrons over on my Patreon page. I will have all of their names listed on screen right now. And of course, a thank you goes out to all of my patrons for supporting my channel and making videos just like this one possible. You guys rock. Here are my social media sites in case you'd like to follow me on any of those. That's just where I do fun things like behind the scenes looks at things coming up. I'll poll you guys on what you want to learn next, and I'll even do giveaways on there a few times a year, so make sure to check it out. But I think that concludes today's video, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope that it helped, and I will see you in my next one coming out really soon. Bye!